Hi, I'm Chad with Move for Guitar. This is lesson number 1 from a short series that I'm doing on how to memorize all the notes on your fretboard. So memorizing notes on your fretboard is an extremely important thing to do, and it'll really set you ahead and help you down the road the more you learn a guitar. It's not something you need to learn right away as you're learning guitar. That wouldn't be that beneficial to you up front. It'll just slow you down. But once you reach a certain point, once you've been playing for a while, once you have your open chords down and are feeling comfortable playing open chords, it's probably time that you need to start memorizing the notes of your fretboard, because that's going to really help you as you get into bar chords and understanding what your root notes are and how to find chords, and especially when you get into scales and everything, memorizing the notes and knowing where every note on the fretboard is really important. And it seems like a really daunting task because the guitar is chopped up in a funny way. It's not laid out simply like a piano, just all in a line. But there's a system you can use that'll really help you learn the notes and cut down the time it takes to learn the notes. And that's what I'm going to show you in this lesson. And this is going to be multiple lessons that show you how, because there's steps to it and I don't want to overwhelm you all up front. I'm going to show you the first step, and then you can learn that and just keep building off of it. And it'll still take time to memorize where all the notes are, but if you follow this system, it'll really help sequence the order you should learn them in and help you do it in a way that makes sense and make it easier for you. So the first thing you need to do when you're memorizing the notes of your fretboard is learn your octave shapes. And there's specific octave shapes that will really help in what I'm going to be showing you how to do. And an octave is just from one note. If, for example, if I play this G note and I go 12 steps, 12 half steps, or 12 notes up, which would end up right here, if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's another G, but it's an octave higher. So these are both Gs, but an octave higher. So this one is an octave higher in pitch. But that's the first thing to understand, is that an octave is 12 notes apart, and it's the same note, it's just an octave higher in pitch. But that's not very useful for learning the notes of your fretboard. It's not very useful just to know that this is a G and then count up 12 notes and know that this is a G. There's a way to do it that's more efficient. So using octave shapes will really help with this. And there are 6 octave shapes that I want to show you. And the first thing you're going to do is memorize these shapes, and then I'm going to show you how to use them to find all the notes on your fretboard. So the first shape, we're just going to start in the 3rd fret, just because it's on a good place on the neck, but these shapes stay the same no matter where you are on the fretboard. And when I'm showing you these shapes, I'm going to be changing the notes that I'm playing. So I'm going to show you in G, starting on a G, then on a C, and later I'll show you how you can use these to find one note all the way up the fretboard, but I just want to stay in one place on the fretboard for now. So the first octave shape, you're going to start by playing the lowest G note, which is on the 6th string, 3rd fret, just because that's where we're starting on in this example. To find your first octave shape, which is this note, but on a different string, so that you don't have to be on one string and 12 frets apart, you're going to play it right here. So this note right here is a G, and it's the same note as this, but it's in a place that you can easily reach it from this note. So the way you find that is to go from here, this is your G note, you're going to count up 2 frets, 1, 2, and then you're going to count down towards the floor 2 strings, so 1, 2. So that's your first shape. So you can play the first note with your first finger, and you can play the second note with your 3rd finger. And if you hold them together, it would look like that. So all you're going to be worrying about is this note and this note, which are both G's, 1 octave apart. You're not worried about any of the strings. Those can just be muted out just by lightly resting your finger on them. But don't even worry too much about muting them out for right now. Just know that here and here, those are both G's, and this is the first octave shape you should learn. The next octave shape is actually the same shape. So it's the same shape, you're just starting on a different string. So when I said there's 6 shapes, there's actually not 6 shapes. It's going to be 4 shapes that you have to learn. It's just because you're going to recycle the same shape for 2 of these. So the first one you know is like this, which I'm starting on the 6th string. I count up 2 frets, down towards the floor, 2 strings. That's the first shape. So we're going to use that exact same shape, but we're going to start on the 5th string now. So 5th string, count up 2 frets, 1, 2, down towards the floor, 2 strings, 1, 2, and then I end up right here. So now I'm playing 2 C notes. I'm playing a C note here and a C note here, an octave apart. So it's the same shape as this, it's just now I'm starting on the 5th string instead of the 6th string. So the next shape, we're going to go down towards the floor another string, and this time the shape changes up because of the way the guitar is tuned. So now I'm starting on the 4th string, and I'm just staying in the 3rd fret, so this is an F note. So this next shape, we're going to count up 1, 2, 3 this time instead of 2, and then down towards the floor 2 still. So 1, 2 strings. So it's the same, you're still skipping 1 string, except now you have to go up towards the body of the guitar 1 extra fret, and this is your new shape. And instead of playing this note with your 3rd finger, you're going to play it with your 4th finger since it's a bigger stretch. So I have an F note here and an F note here, 1 octave apart, and I can play them like this. So that's your next shape that you have to learn. Then you're going to reuse this shape again for the next string sets. So now I'm going to start on the 3rd string and the 3rd fret again, which is a B flat, and I'm going to use the exact same shape to play on the 1st string. So it's the same shape that I used here. I'm just going down towards the floor a string set. So now it's the same thing. If I start from this B flat on the 3rd string, 3rd fret, count up 2 frets, or count up 3 frets, sorry, 1, 2, 3, down towards the floor 2 strings, 1, 2. That's the same shape as the last one. So I have a B flat here and a B flat here. And then there's 2 shapes left, and these won't be recycled like those 2 that I just showed you. The next one is going to start on the next string. So if you'll notice, I'm starting on the 6th string, the next one started on the 5th string, next one started on the 4th string, next one 3rd string. Now I'm starting on the 2nd string. And I'll explain why in later lessons, but just understand that each shape is starting on each string. So first shape I showed you started on the 6th, next was on the 5th, and so on. So now I'm starting on the 2nd string with my 1st finger, and that's a D note. It's just because it's in the 3rd fret, that's just where I'm showing you this. So this one goes the opposite way. Instead of going down towards the floor strings, we're going to go up towards the ceiling. So what you have to do is count up 2 frets still, so 1, 2, but this time we're going up towards the ceiling 3 strings, 1, 2, 3. So that's your next shape, and you can play it like this. So 1st finger here, 3rd finger or 4th finger here. So these are both Ds 1 octave apart. So start on this note, which is on the 2nd string, count up 2 frets, and then count up towards the ceiling 3 strings, 1, 2, 3. So that's your shape. And then the last one is actually a 2 octave shape. It's 2 octaves apart, and we're going to start on the 1st string, which is this G note on the 1st string, and this time we're just going to go back to the 1st note we started with on the 6th string. So that's your 1st note in the same fret on the 6th string. So on the 1st string and the 6th string, if you're in the same fret, those are the same notes 2 octaves apart. And this one isn't one you would necessarily hold. A lot of these shapes that I'm showing you you can actually use for other things when you get into more advanced music, like it's actually something you can play. But this shape, this isn't really one you would hold and play usually, so it's not really that important how you hold it. I'm just going to hold it with my 3rd finger on the first string and in the 3rd fret because that's where we are, and I'll use my second finger on the 6th string, 3rd fret. So first string, 6th string, same fret, those are the same note 2 octaves apart. So those are all the octave shapes you need to learn, and that's where you're going to start for memorizing the notes of the fretboard. And in the next lesson, I'm going to show you how you can use these to find one note up and down the whole fretboard and get to a point where you can do it really quickly. But let me review these shapes really quick. The first one was this, when we start on the 6th string. So on the 6th string, you're going to count up 2 frets, down towards the floor 2 strings. That's your first shape. The next string that we start on is the 5th string. It's the exact same shape as the last one. The next one we're going to start on the 4th string. This time we're going to go up 3 frets, so it's this shape. So that was 1, 2, 3, up 3 frets, and then down towards the floor 2 strings. It's this shape. Then the next one starting on the 3rd string is the exact same shape as the last one. Then the next one starting on the 2nd string was this one, where we go up 2 frets, but then up towards the ceiling 3 strings. So you have that shape. And then the last one was just going from the 1st string to the 6th string in the same fret. And that's a 2 octave shape, which means that it's 24 notes apart instead of 12 notes apart, which if you're doing it on 1 string, you couldn't even do that on this guitar. So start with that. You're going to memorize those shapes and just get used to visualizing them. And you don't even need to necessarily be able to hold them comfortably like this, because when I show you, you're going to play them one at a time. And what we're going to do is just use these shapes that I showed you to find one note up and down the whole fretboard. And these shapes will just help you visualize how to do that. But just visualize these shapes, and you can look on the screen or download the free chart that goes along with this, and it lays them all out really clearly. And this is what's going to allow you to memorize all the notes on your fretboard. This is the first step. So move on to the next lesson when you get this down and are able to visualize these shapes. And be sure to subscribe because we add at least one new lesson every day.